Our meeting will dispense from the pledge in the moment of silence because we've already done it. So Stephanie, would you call the roll to begin our caucus meeting? Yeah, wait. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, we'll dispense the call of the pledge of allegiance in a moment of silence. So let's begin our caucus meeting. Steph, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Rosanna.
Here.
Mr. Esposito.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mr. Ward.
Here.
Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Mr. Bogart.
Here.
Mayor List.
Here. Under announcements, we will have the minutes of February 19th presented to everybody here via email. Under presentations, we have two this evening. The first one is a potential of a city lease. Will Mr. Francis please come up?
How's it going?
Eric, you can probably plug it in.
Yeah. I think the HDMI cord's right here. All right. Basically, what I've been putting together for the last couple of years, partner and I, is a potential of a Lawrence County sports complex. This would be a full sport, top to bottom, adult to children complex, focusing on leagues, tournaments, and economic stimulation, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen these in the past, but basically, this is the BHAG, that big, hairy, audacious goal ending point of it. But mainly the big focus at first would be the first initial phase one, which would be a 515 by 515 turf complex that could be manipulated into a
I got it.
I'm loud enough.
Hey, Eric,
Yeah.
first talk about the property that you desire for the brand.
Right now, the property that I think would be a really good fit is behind Flaherty Field. So it's an unused property right now in the city that, other than the cross country and dog walkers, there's really not anything going on back there. I think it would be it's the size. It's very useful for parking and for the field itself, which it would be 515 by 515 turf square. So you could fit one large baseball game, 60-90, two pony league games, and then you could go down to 4 Bronco-sized games, which would be 50-70, and then little league and on down. You could do softball. You would have mobile fences, and then you could also do soccer, flag football, which is growing with the girls in the area. I think a big focus of what I would try to get contracts with are the club sports in and around the colleges. They don't have a lot of places to do their leagues and their practices, so you have club rugby, Slippery Rock, Westminster, Geneva, all these places that they're playing these club sports. They need access to year-round facilities that are like turf with lights, and they could host regional events, they could host their practices, their games, and stuff like that. And that's not really including the obvious, which would be the local leagues, the local high schools, the local population that could use this for children all the way to adult. I'm a field director of Pony Baseball, and I'd already talked to Abe Key, the CEO, and we would love to start and penetrate into the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 range in regional baseball. So that would be something that, with a sanctioned organization like Pony International, they are looking for sites like this to do certain events and projects. So, but it's like when you wrap your head around what's the possibility, it's just endless. You could have a flag football tournament going on while you have a baseball game, while you have people renting it out for dogs. Or where this really came to mind is I was coaching a team out in Ohio State. They have a field like this. And while we were playing a baseball game, there was a softball game, a Quidditch match. So I don't know if you guys know what that is, but literally people were paying to do Quidditch, and then over here was rugby. So I was just like, man, it's crazy. One big square, 4 different events. So this has been a 10-year thought project, and the last 3 years I really got into the important community impact over it. Being a board member and the treasurer of Visible Lawrence County, just being really focused on improving the county. I just look at how can I personally do that, and this is just where my mind and my focus has been. So obviously it's a year-round tourism driver, increases foot traffic to all the businesses, the restaurants, hotels, retail, and gasoline, and then really the 6% hotel tax, the occupancy tax that we would try to incur every 35 weeks, try to pump out a 35-week schedule, would be the biggest just annual ROI on this type of project. So we are sports. So our identity in Lawrence County, I believe, is sports. That's really where we hang our hat with all our schools. So it really goes along with our identity. And then we are, I believe, in that revitalization stage all around the county. So this would help with that. Low end, mid end, high, mid high, and high. The numbers there is basically it's a 1 to 3 ratio. Every dollar that a tournament would bring in, you could count on $3 being spent back out into the community. That's where they get this per weekend economic impact. Here's a little bit of breakdown. I think this is from the handout that I gave, and there's a little more detail into that. That is specifically focused on a small town. So those numbers are based off of like not Pittsburgh, but like a micropolitan like ourselves. And 35 weekend, obviously these numbers are very scattered. This is basically off of low or micropolitans that had invested into these type of projects. There's one in New York, plenty around Ohio that it's not Cleveland, it's not Canton, it's like an hour out of those cities, and they put in projects like this. Like I talked, the occupancy tax, the annual estimated tax capture, which would be through all the retail, all the gas, all the restaurants and local business, and then adds a new stream of tax stream without raising taxes. And then again, just hearing the need for that the hotels to get a little better around here, which is big for if we want a corporate company to come in at any point and to house their potential business here. We're going to need a full service hotel in Lawrence County. So if we are going to do something to kind of leverage that capability, the possibility, this would be something. Obviously, job creation, local business growth, seasonal work for students and residents, public value. I think a big one is people would want to live here, knowing that something is in and around their area. It's a lot bigger than Pearson Park and a lot bigger than Cascade, and it'd be something that, again, the regional draw, and with the way people are working, wanting more land, willing to live an hour away from a city, because they're only going there 3 days a week, they're going to be looking for a park-like setting to say this is the city that they live in. So I think we have a positive region for that, geographically even. If you look at where we're at between Cleveland, Wheeling, Erie, Pittsburgh, Altoona, Canton, in that 3-hour range, we have a really good area to put this in to boost our community infrastructure. So tournament fees, facility rentals, these are the ways that we would have a revenue stream. I think there's a lot of potential in the sponsorships and naming rights for local businesses. The parking lot, we could get a lot of use even just there outside of the field. If we maximize the whole facility, I think a 35 weekend projects focused on 35 weekends is totally possible. Again, this is an idea I've been running around a while. and I talk about it a lot. It's just a matter of like doing it. Anybody who has kids in sports, I don't think I really got to pitch what you see out there. Flag football's coming around. This sport's going to grow and it's going to pop hard. And when it does, if we had the place to have USA Flag Football come in and utilize our area as a regional facility for regional events. Pony, Abe Key already said he would absolutely consider our area as being a regional or a zone tournament site. And then obviously I looked into rugby, USA Rugby, and the last sport I'll go into that I know nobody's thinking about, but we have about 18 renters a year that rent out about 20 lanes in a year to do cricket in Lawrence County, my facility. And I asked these guys, like, where do you play? They drive an hour and a half to play their closest home game. Cricket, yeah. So it's a growing sport over in Ohio right now, and it could see its way down into Pittsburgh. So it's another sport. They have nowhere to play cricket. So it's like, I have a CRM built of all the sports we would love to work with, even down to field hockey. And the local, within a 2-hour radius of what companies are doing all these sports. And if we had this, the whole goal, my whole job, would be locking in those contracts, whether they would be the tournaments, league play, practices, utilizing the facility. And then we're not even talking about the locals yet. I mean, like, I imagine our softball tournaments being played there. I imagine our flag football games being played there. Soccer growing in every single county, our township, and then the city. So it's like, this could be a place where more sports have an opportunity to grow, being that it's turf, being that there will be lights, and the weather you kind of get the weather out of the way. So consistency in scheduling these tournaments and playing seasonal games. Yeah, the mid to low direct revenue is about $700,000 a year up to the $2.8 million. Again, this is all based off of the year-round booking that we put in, but the high demand on turf-based facilities is through the roof. So it's just a matter of put it up and organize it properly, having the right personnel in place to manage that. So this is the capital stack. Yeah. So we have financing in place. We have partnerships. We have people who are very interested in getting involved. We also have talked about and worked with certain grant writers who are absolutely ready to go. If we had the land and we have the place to go, which we had a place that was about to be finished, but things always have hiccups. So we're really out pitching our idea while certain places that we are interested in finalize, or if they don't, we want backup plans because we know we have a good idea for the county. So this is what brought me to Mark and bringing me to you guys, is that I think we really do have something that would be beneficial for the area. Ties along with what our culture is with sports, and it is a recession-resistant business. And I mean, anybody who has a kid in sports understands like where I'm going with this. Load mitigation risk. So this was for our investors. We talked about stable bookings. For a personal example, I paid for 4 teams to play tournaments this summer, and I paid all the tournaments by November, December. Paid in full. So that means facilities who host these things, they're getting paid 6 to 8 months in advance. So the capital is there prior to the event actually happening. So we're talking about, the revenue stream. It's there. It's not something that you're worrying about on day one. It's already there in the bank, ready to go, ready to be reinvested prior to the event even occurring. I don't think I got to explain why this is bankable. I love sports. I think sports is something very good for the community. I have a bunch of case studies too. So if anybody wanted a specific case study, I could get that to you.
Hey Eric, I think everybody here knows that the cooperation agreement between the Newcastle School District and ourselves, as we lease Flaherty Field to the Newcastle School District, that has been a real successful cooperation. Obviously, that property that you're talking about is just dead property. And we certainly understand the economic potential, but the startup costs would be pretty high. How do you intend, I think you touched on it, how would you intend on raising those startup costs for turf field, for lights, and all?
Yeah, so the startup costs, we have initial investors who are going to put up the grunt work of it. Myself and my partner, we have already locked those in. So the startup paying of it is kind of already ready to go, phase one. We would be looking to, yeah, or it would be a $4.2 million project. So that's kind of like the high end, and being that the project manager's adamant that he could get it down in certain areas, we believe in it, but we're gonna shoot for the 4.2 million in. Now, where we would, once the land is acquired or leased, then we could start our 18-month project on getting all the grants. That would be side. First is the initial payments, down payments, and the turf construction. We already know how much we would have to put down for that. With Field Turf, who's a really good product out of, they've done in Shannon, they did almost everyone around here. So we already have that rep ready to go, numbers wise. So yeah, 4.2 million is just about the total, what it'll come down to in that. That's everything from bleachers, bathrooms, concession stand, the lights, the fencing, the contingent, or the contingency percentage that we built in. Just there's another CRM too I have. I have every little detail that you would need in this. I just wanted to give a quick presentation of kind of what we're doing, but we're looking at around that. Now, then what we would need from Newcastle is just field.
Yeah, and how that would work, is you would sit with Teddy and you'd come up with a legal document for the lease, and then it would come to council. But before that, are there any questions from council for this?
I just want to ask one thing that I guess we have to look into. I know we ran into this with the school, the ball field. The lease,
Field.
well, yeah, I mean, the property would have to be, yeah.
No, this would be a public facility and the
But I mean,
nature trail.
yeah, I mean, so it wouldn't probably, I mean, it couldn't be an exclusive lease because I mean, I guess for you to develop it, but anybody would have, it has to be open 24/7 for people to use it. Is that a problem?
No, this is wherever this goes, whatever city township this ends up in. I mean, the long-term goal is that this is part of the Parks and Recreational Department. This is the only way that this works long-term and does it for the right reasons. We can't get the Marcellus Shell grant without it being a public facility. You can't get a lock on the door. Now, there would have to be, again, this would help job creation. There might be a security officer there. Certain, a position created for the management of that facility. These are all things that are, yeah, I mean, if it is how I envision it, this is part of the city or township, wherever it ends up. And then that city or township, in the long term, would want to keep this as perfect as possible, because private investors are going to really make their buck on the restaurants, businesses that we build up around it, the facility structure that we build up around it over time. But the initial thing that has to happen is this facility.
So you would lease the property, build the facility, and you said it would be part of the city's recreation department, so it would just
So
be
that
ours
would
to
be,
maintain,
I
or-
think, if a private person could run it, but I think if a township or a city sees the opportunity in this over the course of time, they would want it would be a good tax. It would be really good for the city to have a place like this to run events. And
I hear what you're saying, it's
Yeah.
an amenity to the city.
It's an amenity,
In addition to our parks that we have now.
Yeah.
The things that would, with that park in general, like I said, and if you're going for grants, it's gonna be the same for you as well. Because of, the funding streams that were placed in that park, the boundaries are set for it to be public access. Obviously, you can, for people to walk in there should be no problem, but you want safety barriers up, so you can't bring quads and stuff like that into that facility. Those are the only restrictions that we have with that property currently. I mean, there's a long, lengthy process to get it removed from there, but we don't, you know, that's something that I'm working with the state and federal government on now to kind of, we've been working on it to try to get that barrier lifted off. But as it currently stands, it would have to remain open to the public for, you know, use, you know, throughout.
Chris, I can interject here. It's the same thing with Flaherty Field. Obviously, I
Absolutely.
manage Flaherty Field,
Mhm.
and anybody who wants to use Flaherty Field just contacts me,
Yeah.
and it's a public facility.
And I'm sure the tennis courts in the area, if somebody wanted to rent the tennis court, they could call Parks and Rec. It would be kind of the same thing. And I think the scale of this operation, it would be beneficial to have a director focused on that property alone, securing the contracts, securing the tournaments, securing that stuff, because this would be, again, without adding any taxes to the city or the township ends up in, this is going to add tax revenue.
So would you actually need a lease for the property, or would you just need some type of agreement with the city that you could go out to grants and improve it with, you know, the facilities you're proposing?
Yeah, I mean, I think today I wanted to kind of see if you guys thought it was a good idea for that area if possible, because I would say, I still think there needs to be more thought into, because even that area alone would be a hard area without additional thought put into improving certain parts of that area alongside building this. So just putting this in there as is, I don't think it's going to do as well if it would be put in maybe somewhere else that we have in mind, places closer to the highway access, closer to hotels, stuff like that. However, if the idea was such a, whoa, we don't want to really lose this one, and Croton itself kind of saw a way to possibly enhance their participation in the city. You know, being that highway kind of does end right there, they would drive right into the, I don't hate the idea of it, but, I mean, as for what we would like to do, we would like to have that facility as a thought option, and as we continue doing what we're doing in certain other places, seeing how they're asking questions of what they want to do, kind of leaving it on the table that this is something that I'm going to work my butt off to do in our area for everybody to benefit. Where it ends up, I don't know yet. We're looking for the best place for this, looking for the best team to work with. We want to help out everybody. So to answer your question, I apologize. What would be best for both parties, I think, would be the answer. I don't know how to, I don't know if it's one way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't want to create such a chaos in changing the law or whatever, because we do intend on it being like when nobody's renting it, we do want people up there walking the trail. The residents that moved here, hopefully that's a place where you could go visit. That's a place where you can park your car and go walk like you do in every other park in our area. Yeah, this isn't like build it and nobody's allowed in, that it won't work. So, yeah, willing to work with all those stipulations that are in place. But yeah, no, there's a lot more than just that presentation in what we have in our the information around this project. But like I talked to Mark, I think it's a decent project for the city to know that this project's out there being floated around.
Potential's there. There's no question potential's there.
Yeah, and then again, being on the board of the tourism, I think this is something that we could throw into that and be a highlight in the
Eric, the
tourism.
process is for you to sit down with Ted, so we can hammer out the agreement that
I think wouldn't the process be, if you could just get us your plans and your ideas and packet, and we can all kind of digest that,
Absolutely.
and then take a look at it before we start hammering out any kind of agreement or anything like that.
Absolutely.
That's just, we can wrap, but it's a great presentation. I mean, I have, the son that's going through travel ball and all that stuff, so completely understand all that. But there are a lot of things that we need to consider, a lot of things that we need to talk about on our end, just to make sure that this is even doable for us.
Right.
But I think the next step would just be getting us the information, like the presentation, like you said, whatever else you have, ideas of your financing stack and all of that would be perfect information for us to kind of sit down.
Yeah, what Terry's asking then is the package for us, and then we'll digest it.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the whole file. Yeah, I'll send it in and it'll be accessible through Drive.
Thanks,
That'll be
Sarah.
on it.
Thanks, Sarah.
No problem.
Okay, I think I neglected at the start of this meeting, we had a caucus meeting, executive session meeting, and I'm trying to read Teddy's writing here. It was on legislation, litigation, that's your handwriting, and other personnel. Okay, all right, moving on, JD Longo.
Good evening, everybody. Well, first, I want to thank you for inviting me to come and chat with you today and come and give you a progress report and some updates on the progress and successes of the Citywide Development Corporation. I've met everybody, I think almost everybody here, but if you haven't met me, my name is JD Longo. I am the Executive Director for the Citywide Development Corporation Newcastle. So, Mayor, distinguished members of council, those of you in public service and those of you here, thank you very much for the opportunity to address you. Look, our mission at the CDC is very simple. At the heart of it are a few very simple things, commonsensical things. One, it's advocating for the city and the city's businesses. And second, it's inviting individuals from outside of the city to view the city in the way that we do, and that this is one of the best places in Western Pennsylvania, if not the Commonwealth, to come and live and work and play and open a business. And so we're very proud to be able to partner with you, the city's elected leaders, in that endeavor. Past that and beyond that, the idea of the CDC is that we really want to play a part in updating and beautifying the city's current existing infrastructure. So those commercial places, in not just downtown, but across the city, that we have a hand in doing that. We all understand that there are some places that need a little bit of TLC. So the CDC is hoping to step up to fill some of those gaps. Now, these aren't just words on paper. We do have tangible evidence of some of the progress that we've made, and I'm very lucky that on a regular basis, I'd say every day, I speak with at least two of you who are sitting currently here before me. Certainly the mayor and I are commuting almost daily. Councilman Rosano, Councilman Esposito, who's on our board of directors, and likewise Councilman Bogart, and of course to our talented treasurer, Ms. DiCarlo, thank you, and ex officio member, Mr. Fry. It gives me a little bit of more of a warm and fuzzy in that we're heading in the right direction because our communing with you in the city, I don't believe, has ever been stronger. So thank you very much for always being available to us to talk with you and commune with you to that regard. So, as for the tangibles, as of today, the Citywide Development Corporation is proud to report that we've awarded about $200,000 in economic stimulus to Newcastle's businesses. And again, that's specific to the city of Newcastle. Now, to get into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty there, we've actually given out a little over $55,000 of that stimulus in micro grants. Now, we have another $75,000, about $75,000 that's have been awarded, but those are outstanding dollars, and that we're waiting for those awardees to give us the appropriate receipts so that we can give them the appropriate reimbursement. But you will see that regardless. The point is you have over $135,000 in micro grant awards that have been given so far. Now, you have seen some of those already. I know we've shared them online. The Newcastle News has been kind enough to report on those. I'd say most recently, if you look just up the hill here, there's a great, beautiful new sign just in front of the Growing Hope property, the Angeles Center, if you will, and that is a direct effect of the Citywide Development Corporation's micro grant program. Likewise, you can take a look at the additions to PETA here in downtown. Look at Union Barbecue, again, just up north here on the hill, and you will see tangible evidence of the CDC's work there. Now, in addition to that, we also have $50,000 in facade grant monies available. We have awarded $30,000 of that $50,000 available to 3 separate businesses, so those are $10,000 per. They have yet to, of course, begin that work or to remit receipts to us, but we're very excited about the prospect of getting a partner with them so that we can help to beautify their facades and put our best foot forward here in the city of Newcastle. We also currently have a grant application in with DCED for a sizable amount, the purpose of which is to supplement the current facade grant program. Now, the neat thing about the facade grant program is that it is not funded by a public entity, but rather a private entity. PNC Charitable Trust was kind enough to give $50,000 in stimulus to the CDC for the purpose, the express purpose of facade grant improvements. So our hope is that DCED will see the value in the current program that we're running, and that we'll be able to keep it moving in perpetuity. So again, very excited about that. Now, it's not just about the grant stimulus or the grant dollars that I want to talk to you about, but rather the relationships that we're building upon and the new relationships that we're starting to grow. I want to remind you all, though, too, as I'm telling you this, that it's only been 208 business days, 208 working days since I was lucky enough to be hired by the CDC to come on as the executive director, that all of these things have transpired. You might remember that we hosted a very dynamic, what I think was a very successful downtown development conference. We had over 100 stakeholders, people from all over the city and outside of Lawrence County, even to include not just public and elected officials. Some of you were there with us. Mayor, I know you sat on a panel. Thank you very much for helping supplement the programming. But we had business owners, we had community developers, we had lots of nonprofit leaders who were in that room to talk about the things that are important to us regarding the development of downtown. And we hosted it in the beautiful Loresto. If you haven't been to Loresto yet, I highly recommend that you go, because it is just an absolute gem. The food, the service, everything about it, I can't speak highly enough. That's exactly the kind of business that we want to see come to downtown Newcastle, and so we're happy to support them and our other local businesses. Likewise, we convened 2 large-scale stakeholder meetings. Many of you were involved in that as well. One of them was regarding the floodplain in downtown. We were lucky enough to have a really sizable arrangement of individuals there, to include members of the federal, county, the state, and local governments, all the way from our Congressman Mike Kelly down here to the local level, where many of you participated in that as well. And likewise, we also convened a meeting with stakeholders here regarding the future potential for the advancement of the municipal airport. I know that that's not technically inside of the city, but the fact remains that we do have a airport that bears the name of Newcastle, just a few miles outside of the city line, that has great potential for economic progress. And when I say that, I mean specifically there's great potential to make it a hub for commercial endeavors, cargo planes, etc., to come in and out of that. And so very excited at the potential to see that succeed as well. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that we've had many hundred of smaller stakeholder meetings with individuals who have a vested interest in what goes on here too, so I'm proud that we've conducted those as well. And we've actively reached outside of the city of Newcastle and Lawrence County to outside entrepreneurs and developers to remind them that the city of Newcastle is here, that we do exist, and that, again, this is one of the best places in the Commonwealth to live, work, and play, and most importantly, to open a business. We've been very adamant about making sure that people understand all of the good things, the positives that we know to be true about the city of Newcastle. I'm lucky enough to have some roots here, although I didn't grow up here in a technical sense. You all know that I have blood that grew up in Mahoneytown, and so I'm able to join you in painting that positive light for the city. It's oftentimes that we see a lot of negatives that seem to get highlighted, but you and I know the truth, and that is this place is ripe for development. And we also can see the population trends that are moving in a positive direction toward us as well. So as you look at Butler County and Beaver County that neighbor us, you see that their populations are starting to increase. And just over the Lawrence County line, you'll see in a place like Elwood, they're starting to move up here. So if we are prepared to receive them, and I do believe that we are, because of the partnership that you and I share, we can see a boon for the city of Newcastle and for Lawrence County. It's especially important because this, of course, is our county seat, and we want to make sure that folks are giving it the proper deference and honor that it deserves. Now, most excitingly, that I want to share with you is that we are investigating the potential for the acquisition and beautification of real estate, current existing real estate in the city of Newcastle, and the CDC's focus is not just on downtown. I know we all want to see downtown go back to its former and rightful glory, and I'm sure that we will someday achieve that. But we do have communities in and of the city that, again, are ripe for development. One thing that the CDC is very interested in seeing is a community like Mahoneytown succeed. If you take a look at it, and you all know the history, of course, of Mahoneytown, you understand that it was an independent entity and community unto itself. It has since, of course, been taken over by the city. But what makes it really special, of course, is that it still has a very unique and independent flavor and culture unto itself. It has a main drag that has seen a lot of recent economic and commercial development. You've seen some great beautification there. The St. Marguerite's Club has made a substantial investment in it. Mangino's has made a substantial investment there. And I understand that it's not everybody's flavor, but there is a brand new Dollar General there in downtown too. But it's worth mentioning because it's another form of economic investment and stimulus that has found its way into Mahoneytown. And so the CDC is interested in exploring opportunities to help move along in that regard. And to that effect, we're having conversations with entities outside of the city to make sure that they understand where our mission is and to invite them to join us and join you in supporting this mission. Now, I'd be remiss again if I didn't remind you all that the CDC is very adamant about being good stewards of the money that comes to it, whether it's through the support from the city or from private donors. But it's operated by just one contractor, and that's myself. And with an unpaid board of directors, a couple of you sitting here in this room today. And so to that effect, we're very happy, of course, for the support that we have, but we want you to be reminded that we're trying to utilize the money that comes to us, again, whether it's through the resolution like we saw come to us via this board who decided to award us $30,000 per year for the next 5 years. We're very grateful to you for that, or from private donors. We are running a bare bones operation now, but I think that's growing. We also are striving to bring on a summer intern, at least a summer intern. I'd really like to see an intern through the entirety of the year. But I can tell you that right now we're focused on bringing at least a summer intern to help us with our communications, with our marketing, and not just of the CDC, but with all the successes of the city and all this many stakeholders. So again, I want to take this time then to once more extend my gratitude to you for your decision to help partially fund the CDC. But I also want to take this time to anybody who's listening to ask that if you see a value in economic development for the city of Newcastle and you'd like to see the CDC succeed, that you would join the city of Newcastle proper in its endeavor to support us. And we would really invite those opportunities to talk and commune with you so that we can get down to the business of beautifying the city and making it great. So with that being said, I want to open the floor to you for any questions you might have of
Any
me,
questions?
please.
JD,
Mayor.
well done,
Thank you,
great
sir.
presentation. We discussed at length the fact that downtowns are changing like our downtown. It's moving towards recreation, entertainment, and that's the direction that we're going. We certainly understand that office space and those things are almost passé in downtowns. Like I said this over and over again, 38% of the buildings in downtown Pittsburgh are vacant. So it's recreation, it's entertainment, those are things, and walkability, those are things, and that's how we're moving in our downtown. And it's interesting that you're saying that our business district can be Mahoneytown. Everybody forgets, Mahoneytown is Newcastle. It's
Sure.
Newcastle.
Yeah, it certainly
And
is.
it has so much potential there. So we're on the right track, and we've discussed that at length, you and me, and that's the way for us to go.
Yes, sir.
And I'm happy to hear that you mentioned that here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Anything else? Tom?
Ladies and gentlemen,
No, I want to
Councilman?
make a comment that Mahoneytown is a unique area of the city, one with fairly high, well, I don't want to say high opinion, but good self-esteem. In that, well, one of the times that I have been there, walking around downtown, I mean, in the area, there is a sign there that says, Mahoneytown, capital of Newcastle. And so I chuckled when I saw that and thought that they think well of themselves.
yeah.
It's a good, close-knit community with people that are strong family
Certainly.
ties. And there is potential there on Liberty
Yes, sir.
to,
Great. And I'd like to furthermore, just remind everybody too, there are some really beautiful homes in those residential areas just off of that commercial drag. It's perfect to become a bedroom community for Pittsburgh or even for Cleveland. In fact, I don't know if you're aware, but you actually have some of your constituents that do work in the city of Cleveland. So, I mean, Newcastle is perfectly situated for it. But regardless, we're ready to go. So we're looking forward to partnering with you on that. Did you have something to
I was
add?
gonna say, they built a number of homes, new homes down there, that, were $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. up by the cemetery. And, you know, and new people, we wanna get them to stay here, we need new houses. They wanna stay, they wanna build new houses, and that would be a spot to look at.
Certainly.
Thank you so much, JD.
Thank you, Mayor.
Very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, moving on, under public comments, please keep it to what's on the agenda, keep it 5 minutes. Let's go first, Ms. Hanson.
All right, good evening, council. First, thank you to JD, who already looks up, for the presentation tonight, for taking the time to speak with me earlier this year about the Citywide Development Corporation. I appreciated the opportunity to learn more about the CDC and its role in our city. However, after that conversation with JD, I followed up with an email. I have copies for you guys. In February, with additional questions about funding, governance, strategy, and transparency. Unfortunately, those questions were never answered. Even now, more than a month and a half later, that lack of response is part of why I felt it was important to speak tonight. My concerns really fall into 3 areas: accountability, engagement, and measurable results. First, accountability and transparency. In just the last 2 years, 2024 and 2025, more than $130,000 in grant funding and over $50,000 in city money has gone directly to funding the position of the CDC Executive Director. Now, beginning this year, another $30,000 per year from the city budget has been committed for the next 5 years. That's $150,000 of taxpayer money moving forward, and it's not clear what the specific deliverables or reporting expectations tied to that funding are. At the same time, 2 members of City Council sit on the CDC Board of Directors. Because of that connection, I would hope for a very high level of transparency and communication with the public. Yet when residents try to learn about the CDC's work, that information is proving to be very difficult to find. Second, engagement with the community. The CDC created its Facebook page in May of last year. In the 10 months since then, just over 50 posts have been made. But half of those are simply shares, only about 25 are unique posts. Of those 25 unique posts, 8 were about the development conference, 5 about introducing board members, 5 repeated the same information about the microgrant program. That leaves only a handful of posts about any substantial updates or progress. For comparison, the same number of unique posts the CDC made in 10 months, which was 25, were made on JD's Facebook page as Mayor of Soapy Rock in just the last 22 days. That comparison naturally raises questions about where the time and focus really lies. A recent newspaper article by Newcastle News editor Pete Sirianni also noted that JD is balancing multiple responsibilities, serving as mayor in another municipality, conducting media interviews, and traveling to Washington, D.C. to meet with legislators. Also, the CDC Facebook page itself has less than 200 followers after 10 months, which raises questions about how much outreach or engagement is actually happening within the community. Council itself has not received a CDC update since June of 2025. At least actually in a council meeting. That was about 9 months ago. For any organization receiving public funds, that seems like an incredibly long time between updates. Even the CDC website reflects this lack of transparency. The section labeled agenda and minutes contains nothing, and the business directory lists only 9 businesses. All of this makes it fair for residents to ask how much time and priority is actually being given to Newcastle's economic development. Third, performance and measurable results. According to the CDC website, its mission is to strengthen and transform Newcastle through economic development, community revitalization, real estate development, and the rehabilitation of vacant and blighted properties. This site also lists 12 different goals, including everything from revitalizing properties and offering incentives for relocation to Newcastle to repairing potholes in roads and parking lots. But aside from the Pocket Park project and microgrants awarded, it's difficult to identify evidence that these broader goals have been addressed at all. So residents are left asking, what strategies, programs, or services have actually been developed? What properties have been revitalized? What businesses have been attracted? What measurable economic development has occurred? When you look at the numbers, the communication, and the results together, it raises a larger question. Since the CDC was created in 2013, over a decade ago, what has been the return on investment for the city of Newcastle? Who is evaluating whether this structure is the best way for our city to approach economic development? Should we be considering alternatives like bringing back the dedicated community and economic development director within the city government that we used to have? Because right now, when residents look at the CDC, what they see most clearly are 2 small grant programs and very little public reporting about anything else. And this brings me to my final thought. The CDC administers a facade improvement program intended to improve the appearance of buildings in our city. But to many residents looking from the outside, the CDC itself is starting to feel a bit like a facade. something that looks like economic development on the surface, but where it's very difficult to see the structure, the activity, or the results behind it. My only hope is these thoughts can be the start of a greater transparency, clearer reporting, and a serious conversation about how we ensure Newcastle's economic development efforts are truly serving the people who live here. Thank you.
Thank you, Reggie. Okay, our next comment is from Mr. Arjo. And Mr. Arjo, you listed your address at 930 Morton Street.
Correct.
And we have it owned under CHW Solutions of Maryland Incorporated. It's rather ambiguous, but we'll permit you to speak.
I do want to have business in Newcastle. There's questions, okay, and concerns on a lot of things. One of the main things is, Mr. Sapp, I'm going to address you here. There's $500,000 grant that was issued. You were the center of that, obviously online from whoever that poster was. Can you explain that by chance? And what's going on with that? What it was used for? Why it was issued by Verizon and the library?
No, you don't have to explain.
You don't have to explain that? Okay.
Go ahead.
Also,
The grant wasn't awarded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, the hole in downtown involving Ricky Trinidad, is there any progress on that whatsoever?
Yeah,
Yeah? You care to elaborate, or it's just a yeah?
yeah.
It's all good? Well, I'm here to suggest, and you're probably going to get blamed for that.
Well, I'm gonna wait till you finish.
Mr. Rosanna's son, Michael, one of the best real estate developers to ever come out of Newcastle. He has a bad taste in his mouth for this town. So do I, so do a lot of people that come from here because of the things we've dealt with in the past. Why not approach Mr. Michael Rosanna and his partner, Anna Maria Frank, and get that hole filled in, put something there that we can be proud of. Let's rebuild our city. I'm not here to fight, I'm not here to argue with you guys, but come on. We gotta do something, there has to be progress. Now, the City Development Corporation, he's a really good talker. There's a hole downtown. There's a hole that's been downtown when, they're supposed to break ground March 25th of 2025. What actual plans do you have put in place to beautify the downtown to where businesses are gonna wanna come down there? Where it can be safe for my kids to walk the streets and not fall in a giant hole? If we're gonna bring business downtown, we need to bring in vetted developers, not one facing an $87 million bankruptcy in Florida. So the fact that he was even given an opportunity to destroy our town, because that's what he did, and I'm sure you are all equally upset about that, then what are we gonna do? We have homegrown developers that have been successful on a big stage like Pittsburgh, and you're giving it to Ricky effing Trinidad? I'm pissed off. I am. It's bullshit that we have to bring in an outsider. I apologize for my language. We have to bring an outsider in who does nothing but run a Ponzi scheme with real estate. Looking for questions and concerns. I'm just really ticked off, and I felt that I needed to address it.
The procedures for public comment is that you address council, there's no back and
No?
forth.
Okay.
No, when you finish.
That's it. I just want to know what your plan is for the rejuvenation of downtown, because it's not metro revitalization. That's not going to work.
Okay, you finished?
Yes.
All right, have a seat. Okay, number of things. Obviously, you put us in a position where we'll give you some answers here. Number one, when Ricky Trinidad came to us, it was most important that that we tear down a building that he did tear down. And obviously, the agreement with the redevelopment authority was that he had 3 years to begin to develop that site. We are in a year and a half. You're right. We are extremely upset that we have a hole in our downtown. And Mr. Sparzo and I met with a couple of their developers just the other day. Most importantly is that there is a hearing, because we do our due diligence. We have fined him. We fined him, and he went to court, and he appealed that ruling. The next ruling will be on June 26th. We can't handle what the court gives him. When we do our due diligence and we find him over and over again and he takes it to court, we can't deal with the judges that rule either on an appeal or give him a continuance. We can't deal with that. That's out of our purview. That's what happens, and it occurs over and over again. So, the next hearing will be at June 26th. I would tell you to go and listen to what that hearing says, so that you know. But I can tell you that this council in this city is on this developer like white on rice. I can tell you that. We are not happy. We are as frustrated and upset about our hole in downtown as you. And we are going to come to a conclusion to it. But I can tell you that we just met with a couple of their investors who are connected with Mr. Trinidad. And actually, I talked to one of them today. They don't have answers yet, but they are going to give us some answers as to the progress of this project. I can tell you that.
If I could add, Mayor, I think
Yes.
most importantly is that this was a private sale. This sale, that had nothing to do with the city. It wasn't like we gifted it to them or sold it to them or anything like that. That was a private sale, just like the houses that are blighted and the individuals that come out of town or the absentee landlords on it. We do our job on the back end in terms of enforcement and follow the ordinances and of the code complaints or anything like that, and that's what Mayor said. There was no the city involvement in Ricky Trinidad's operation. Same thing with the bridge downtown. There's no city or local government overseeing that project. That's a state project. So I think just to clear the air here, you know, we're not. This isn't our development. You know, our job is to oversee the enforcement to ensure that these things get done the proper way, and that's exactly what we're doing. And we have been.
And we have a plan for our downtown. Mr. Esparzo has expressed many, many times on our container park that we have potential for that we're moving ahead in. We understand that the downtowns have changed. We have to accept that downtowns have changed. You're not going to get large business. Amazon's not coming in our downtown. And so we are moving towards recreation and entertainment. Those are the things that will make our downtown move and walkability. I'm going to announce pretty soon again that we have 9 concerts downtown this summer. 9 concerts. What does that do? It brings people downtown. And I understand it's only for one night. I get it. But what we want to do is have walkability downtown, and we're moving in that direction. So, and again, you know, we're very frustrated that our bridge is closed. It takes away from the convenience of just driving straight through downtown. We're very frustrated by that. It's scheduled to be open in November of 2026, and believe me, we had to knock down doors in Harrisburg to move that up. So we're looking forward to that. And I know a lot of the businesses are looking forward to that bridge opening as well. So we do have a plan for our downtown. But Rome wasn't built in a day. The deterioration of downtown took many years, and for it to come back takes a number of time. It takes a certain amount of time too. And we are all in a hurry. We're in a hurry to get that done. Dave?
Yeah, I'd like to address this. The idea of, you know, creating a social space downtown isn't a panacea that's going to immediately turn downtown around. It's one little part. It's a step forward in a positive way. But downtown's suffering because it has many people that own property that don't take care of their property. And these are private individuals. And in America, when you own property, our laws protect you. So we can cite them, which we do, and that has some effect, very little really. The courts aren't with us because they're very lenient with regard to schedule. They give continuances, they put property owners on payment plans for the fines that we levy. So there's not really a big incentive to break their neck to fix properties. And we need to have property owners that come here, or are here already, that have some pride in the property they own. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't. And, you know, evidenced by the buildings downtown. The buildings downtown that are empty, they're in, some of them, very poor condition. And so that's a detriment to somebody wanting to open a business in them, because they are in such poor condition, it's very expensive to upgrade them to open a business. It's cheaper to go somewhere else where the building is in a better shape, we'll say. So those are the things we're working against. The site where Mr. Trinidad proposes his multi-story apartment building was owned by an individual who sold it to another individual, who sold it to another individual, and we can't control that. And ironically, we did have an agreement with the first owner to turn that building into a public market, but that vaporized because it was sold out. Even after we had the agreement basically written, I saw the written agreement. The next thing we hear is the building was sold. So that went away. It was torn down. Personally, I didn't believe it needed to be torn down, but it was torn down. That's gone now. I'm a proponent of stop tearing downtown buildings down, because if you don't, you won't have a downtown at all. So it's a very frustrating thing. When I got on council, I'll be frank, I thought it would be easier than it is. It's much harder than I imagined.
Mr. Longo, I have to say, I appreciate you coming here and asking those questions.
I actually have another one. And this is more
I
geared
appreciate you
towards
asking
that.
those questions, simply because we want to give those answers. We're being transparent here. And I hear your frustration. The residents are frustrated, and we're frustrated with it too. But believe me, we're moving ahead, and we want to get an answer to what's happening. We're not happy with it, I can tell you that. So I appreciate you coming here and you asked us those questions, so we have an opportunity to answer. Go ahead.
We'll gladly communicate after, but procedurally,
Yeah.
you're good. Your time. Yeah.
Okay. The next person who would like to speak is Mika Frost.
Good afternoon. My name is Micah Frost, and I live at 325 River Boulevard, Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And I just wanted to speak from what I heard today from the lease that's for the sports complex. I had saw the picture of the presentation. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's a great way to represent, bring in a community, everything like that. I think the idea is fantastic. I have no blame. I talked to Eric while he was up here and everything like that. I got his business card, everything like that. I think it's a fantastic idea. The only problem I have is, I know it's an out of way place. It's right on like that city line. You go out and then boom, you're in Slippery Rock. I think the only people who have probably seen that area is probably me and Mr. Rogers, due to it's something like baseball there, things like that. I've worked cross country there for the past 2 years, so I know the place there like the back of my hand. And while I think it's a fantastic idea, it's just not the place for it. I mean, you go down into that road, and I know you don't have like the fundamental, you don't have the structure, you just have like that sort of like theory of where he wants it to be and how he wants it to be in Newcastle. He wants to put it there. It's just not doable in that area. I mean, you have that immediate rundown in that broken down path that if you try to drive a car up there, you can't even fit 2 cars. You're trying to run multiple.
Well, you want to go that way.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying.
You want to go through Cascade.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is there's no way to have the cars and the parking for a league that's supposed to carry out 4 different sports at the same time. There's no way to have the roads and everything that would connect to it. I mean, I know the houses down there. There's houses that are right by it that probably couldn't even stand. I've gone running down there, and they hate to see us running down there. They just don't like the noise, and the people that are around there. They like to get isolated. I mean, that's why they decided to live down there. And I couldn't imagine, all of a sudden a project development in a place like that where these people are already isolated, and they bring out 4 tournaments, and then you have obviously the river that's right down there. There's no good roads that even lead into Flaherty Field. Whereas, I love Flaherty Field. Obviously, I told you I ran there. But you have that humane, that private property for the Humane Society that's right there has been used in, I've lived here for 17, 18 years of my life. I don't think I've ever seen it used. You know what I mean?
That's Hartman Field.
That's right, yeah, right, yeah. And I don't think I've ever seen it used. I did see the playground was being renewed. Yeah, yep, that was being renewed. But other than that, I think I saw maybe 4 or 5 times people work down there, and over the summer, I've been to Flaherty Field every single day, except for Sundays, to run cross country, whereas that field was never touched, for the Humane Society, the Hartman Field, and the playground was maybe touched about 5 times, and still not usable to this day. While I think it is a fantastic, wonderful idea, I just don't think that Flaherty Field is the correct way to go with it. And obviously with the reinstatement of the turf field that we just got for the football, the new softball field we just got for GW, I think we should try to reinstate things. I know it's impossible to do. Closer to the high school, we're the only high school that I know in all of the Whitfield sports, besides basketball and everything that happens inside the school, that the sports facilities aren't ready by the school. I mean, we're the only ones. There's no place to do it, and it's impossible to do. But I think it's a wonderful and fantastic idea. I mean, that's why I got his business card. I think he's a wonderful and fantastic guy, and his partner. I just don't think that Flaherty Field is the place to do it. But I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Frost.
Thanks.
There's an old saying, if you build it, they will come. Okay, under the planning commission, we have none petition to vacate street. Request for bid, will be going out for CDBG permit this week, okay? And then, this week, Thursday, we're gonna receive and open, 3 bids, for the City Hall masonry project, the super pave hot mix, and the City Hall roof replacement. We have none at this time for, open bids. Moving on. For the repository properties, they are attached for anybody's review, coming up for Thursday. And also for Thursday, we have 2 purchase requests, one for patrol rifles from General Manufacturing Company, in a total amount of $28,914. That's will be paid by the forfeiture funds. And also, CoStar quote for review for Dell Steiner, our greenskeeper, for Sylvan Heights, and for Cavado MX 5400 D2 utility tractor and mower, in the amount of $61,577.52. This was discussed with us by Chris and me with Mr. Stein. So that will be on our agenda for Thursday. We have, yes,
Repository properties, I don't know if anyone's here to speak on those.
is there anybody here for the repository? I'm sorry, that was a mystery. Okay. The resolutions on the table, we have none. Ordinance for consideration, we have a handicap sign on Liberty Street, South Liberty Street. Ordinance on the table, this is the attached for caucus agenda for review. This is to accept the deed to lot number 114. This will be adopted on our 3/19 meeting, that's Thursday. This is the Sylvan Heights project. That this is really big, that we waited 30 years for, and it's finally coming to fruition. We're excited about it. You know, the role of, yeah, that is. What did I say? I said Sylvan Heights, oh my. Sorry, Shenango, China, I apologize. Yeah. Wow. Well, I am 71, ladies and gentlemen, I am 71 at the dementia. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I should have said it. Anyway. Anyway, this is Shenango, China. We waited 30 years for this night. And, you know, obviously our objective here is to create economic potential. And this is a great place for us for great economic potential for that site. So we're excited about that for Thursday night. Any questions today? Okay. Under discussion, I do want to mention one thing here. Reading my notes. Under discussion, hey, we have 9 bands for our concert series this summer, beginning June 12th, running through August 21st. I've mentioned all the bands. There's some really national known bands coming in this summer. We're happy about it, and it's a great cost to us. And I do want to say that if it wasn't for our patrons, we wouldn't be able to do this. Some of these people made substantial donations in order for us to have these concerts. And it's free for our people. And these people, these patrons who made these contributions is Trilo and Heisel, Scotty Fierce made a great contribution, Riardo's, Gigi's Italian Village, whose place is in Bournemouth, that lives in Newcastle, made a sizable contribution. The Pita Place, and also Vente Se Winery. So when you have an opportunity, go to those places. Those people really came through and were able to have 9 concerts in our downtown this summer. So we really appreciate their contribution. Thank you guys. Okay, moving on. To conclude, let me see where I am. An executive session we've already done. Our upcoming meeting is Thursday on the 19th. So, that's our meeting. Thank you all.